We have to make a whole new set of standards. And when people come in, they have to come in.
So you're going to split up families.
Chuck,
you're going to deport children.
Chuck, no. We're going to keep the families together. We have to keep the families together.
But you're going to keep them together out.
But they have to go.
What if they have no place to go?
We will work with them.
It is the issue driving the Americans right at this moment. The American ideal, the American politic. A country flooded with immigrants, taxpayers footing the billion-dollar bill, and those seeking change demanding a slam-shut border, while at the same time sending those scheming, murdering illegals back where they came from. It's a seething anger being fueled by Donald Trump. But with his latest full-barrel shot at the issue, has he gone too far and jumped the political shark? And are his latest promises nothing more than rhetoric he already knows he cannot deliver on? Or maybe, just maybe, there is no other way, period. So let's dig in. He is Executive Director of Latino Partnership at the American Principles Project, Alfonso Aguilar, joined by the Director of Content and Activism at NumbersUSA, which tracks actions taken by Congress via immigration grade cards, Chris Chmielenski. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And Alfonso, I'm going to begin with you. You wrote an article that said Trump's plan is, and I'll quote you now, irresponsible, inhumane, and politically expedient. Is it that bad? I mean, you went after him like no one has that we've read.
Look, I agree. Look, I'm a conservative who supports immigration reform. I think what he's proposing, if you read the plan, he's just talking generalities. He's not making really specific legislative proposals. I mean, I agree that the border's not secure. We have to do a much better job of securing the border.
But you said it's irresponsible and inhumane. Speak to those things.
Well, when you say it's irresponsible, when you say that I'm going to build a big wall and Mexico's going to pay for it, that is ridiculous. That is a statement. How do you actually get that done? So in terms of border security, I don't see how he's being responsible in terms of actually ensuring that we have strategic fencing and using other assets to secure the border. So in terms of border security, I'm not impressed. In terms of the undocumented immigrants, look, they're here not because they're looking for handouts or they're looking for birthright citizenship for their kids. They're coming here because our economy needs them and our system is broken and they don't have a legal way to come here. So to all of a sudden remove from the country over 11 million people who've made America their home, who are contributing to our economy, who are taking jobs in his hotels, helping build his hotels, and being so cynical now to say, well, let's remove them all, I think that's inhumane. I don't think that's the American way. I think we have to fix the system and then prospectively starting to enforce the law. But right now we have a system that is broken, and our economy, as I've said, needs those workers because they're taking jobs that Americans don't want.
Okay, Chris, I'll tell you what. Chris, let me come to you on this because let's get to some of the points here now. Under Donald Trump's plans, Mexico imports to the United States in 2014 totaled $294 billion. And also, you're talking about rounding up 11 million people, and deporting all these immigrants would cost between $400 billion and $600 billion and would take 20 years. So, Chris, can't we just say that maybe he's touched a nerve here into what some Americans want, but it simply can't be done? This is a big promise here that's just full of bluster. You really can't make this happen without hurting America.
It really is a big promise. And what I think he's tapping into, and you heard it during the debates last week, is he's tapping into the frustration of Americans for the federal government's lack of inability to enforce our immigration laws. We agree that building a fence and having Mexico pay for it is an unrealistic, that's just not going to happen. We also don't support, NumbersUSA doesn't support mass roundups and deportations of 11 million illegal aliens that are currently living in the country. But we do support many of the elements that are within his plan, and that includes mandatory E-Verify that makes sure that workers are legal working in the United States. We support a biometric entry-exit system, but most importantly, we support the provisions that Mr. Trump put forward that supports a pro-American, position that would protect American wages by regulating the immigration system so we can pick and choose who comes here to live and work in the United States and base the system on the numbers rather than on the system that we currently have now that's heavily based on family reunification.
So, Alfonso, is it not just possible here again that he has struck that nerve? Look, you have to start somewhere. There are some people who would say, wait a minute, you can't start like this. You have to start by fixing the immigration problem in itself, the legal immigration process. Is there anything here that Donald Trump is talking about that makes sense to you? I mean, that can actually happen?
Well, I mean, I agree with E-Verify. I think that's something that it's important, and also a biometric entry and exit system. But the main principles on which the plan is based are just wrong. When it comes to curtailing legal immigration, think about this. That's not the conservative position, to have big government, have Washington highly regulate the labor market to determine who comes in and who doesn't. Look, if an American company cannot find an American worker, why shouldn't they be able to bring the foreign workers that they need? And by the way, by bringing those workers who are taking jobs that Americans don't want, they help create good-paying jobs upstream in the labor market, jobs that are taken by American workers. Frankly, I don't think his position on legal immigration, I don't think it's conservative. To say that more people in the labor market means that there are going to be less opportunities or that depresses wages, that's big labor's position. It's not the Reagan conservative vision that saw immigration as a pro-growth policy.
Let me then get to this from Chris on this side. Is it just possible then that we can take what Donald Trump is saying here and we can mold it, and that other Republicans will start to listen to it and say, he's tapped into this. We have to take this and maybe not make this exact thing happen, but we've got to make something happen here, because the groundswell that's happened here, it's maybe a starting point more than anything else than an actual finish point. Yes?
Well, I would agree that first you have to earn the trust of the American people that we're going to enforce our immigration laws. You've seen pretty much a complete abandonment of immigration enforcement under the Obama administration. But if you look at the position that a lot of the presidential candidates are taking, including Trump put forth an immigration plan that puts the interests of American workers and their wages first. That's a position that Scott Walker has taken. That's a position that Rick Santorum has been taking for a few years. That's even a position that even Jeb Bush has mentioned, having an immigration system that.
But fair to say, too, that all of these candidates, they have to look at the fact that Donald Trump is leading the polls. He's got to be saying something right.
Right. And what I think part of the difference is, again, he's tapping into some of the frustration, as I've said, with the American people, that our government's just not enforcing immigration laws. The reason why we have 11 million people here illegally is because government's just not enforcing the laws, and we need to start enforcing the immigration laws that are on the books.
Alfonso, 15 seconds to you. Has Donald Trump insulted the Latino community this time for the final time, in your opinion?
Oh, certainly. I mean, before it was just insulting comments that he was making. Now he actually has come out with a specific plan with proposals that are insulting of Latino immigrants, and I think of all Americans, because basically what he's saying in his plan is that legal immigration is bad and we need to limit it. Where we see immigration as a conservative, we see it as a pro-growth policy that can create good-paying jobs for American workers. It's a job killer, and his proposals are bad for the middle class.
And we have to end it there. Alfonso Aguilar, Chris Chmielenski, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. We'll continue this conversation. We talked about Donald Trump. You want to go ahead? A lot of people who watch this show and this network want to be a part of the Trump bandwagon. Get on it. Get your Make America Great Again cap. This is not an endorsement of Donald Trump, but it is a chance for you to show that you believe in what he is saying. Call 1-800-933-8396 or go to Newsmax.com/Trump cap and get your cap today.